Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to the session. And in this particular video, we will be understanding that how we can configure the config maps of Kubernetes, right? So this is a topic config map as the first thing we will be doing is that using configuration map and as variables. And in this second part, we can understand for the volumes as well. So this is the first topic for the day, followed by the second topic. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of config map? So this is called as stored credentials, which is decoupled from container slash application deployed. Okay, so these are the actually variables and the configuration like the hash map thing. Okay, which will be acting as a GitHub secrets. Okay, and which are in the format of hash maps, and which will be later be used while deploying the applications like suppose WordPress front-end password, back-end password, TP password, admin credentials, so and so. Okay, so this is the first thing that what we will be doing is that first we will be setting up the configuration map as variables, and then we can move forward with the as volumes. Makes sense? So the steps for the lab will be uh, create EKS IAM user in AWS. And after that we can move forward with the AWS configure, and step 3 will be uh, create cluster, then connect to it, and then we can follow up the steps, right? So the commands, right? Then we can follow up the config map thing. Okay, so these are only the vim and the nano commands with the YAML files, right? Okay, makes sense. So let's do that. So let's move on to the AWS management console, and let's go to IAM. Let's go to user. Let's click on create user. So EKS demo, click on next, attach policies directly. That's all. So click on create user, and this is the user that what we have created, EKS demo. Then we'll be moving on to security credentials, and then we will generating the access key, right? So I will be clicking on this button called as create access key. So use case will be command line interface. So we get next, and this is the two things that what is now visible, right? So what we'll be doing is that we'll be going to the terminal, and we'll be typing AWS configure. So let me just zoom into the terminal as well now. Okay, so now what we'll be doing is we'll be typing AWS configure, then copying the access key, paste it there, copy the secret key, paste it there, US East 1 JSON, right? And for the next step, what we can do is that we can move forward with the EKS cluster creation, right? So what's the command for EKS cluster creation? That is, let me just copy from there. So this is the command for the cluster creation, and I will be making this T2 micro as we don't need it. Okay, let's make it T3 medium only, and we'll be making it as node as 2, east US 1, and make it cluster XYZ demo. And that's what EKS create cluster name, region, node 2, and node type is T3 medium, and that's all, right? So we'll be clicking on enter, and let's wait for once the cluster deployment is done, right? So I will be catching you in a bit. Okay, so let's wait for some time. Okay, so yeah, now the cluster is ready, right? And we can do the configuration of the config map, right? So what we will be doing here is that we'll be creating a file called as cm config map hyphen creds dot yaml, and underneath this particular thing I will be pasting the credentials, right? And let's see how the credentials goes like. Allow me a moment, please. And this is the credentials, right? So here I can, okay, so that's all the thing, right? So I can just come out from this file, and what I can do is I can kubectl apply minus of this thing. So I'm going to apply the config map here, so you can see the config map, right? Now kubectl get cm, that's the two thing, right? Now what we'll be going to do here is that we will be going to create a deployment. So nano db dot yaml, copying the content, pasting here, and this is how our YAML file looks like, right? So it will be named db container, this one, and this is the image that what I'm going to pull up, right? So control X, save it, and kubectl apply minus fdb dot YAML, and let's see how it goes. So yeah, so the deployment has been created, and now what we'll be doing is that get the pods, so pods, okay, so this is the pod is will be getting up and running after some time. So let's wait for some time to get it running. So yeah, so it's completely running now. So what I will be doing is that I will be executing the things, right? So what is the thing here? I will be writing kubectl execute minus it, and then the name of the pods. I will be copying the name of the pod. Second, yep. So copying the name of the pod minus env. So this is all of the things which is showed now, right? So these are the config map variables which we have created. So this is the whole environment, right? So now we are ready to pop our SQL session minus user root minus p, and everything is configured in the config map only. All right. And since I haven't installed the MySQL thing, so it is showing up this error, but once you will trying with this thing, then it can move ahead with the forward thing. Okay, cool. So this is all about the config map. Now let's quickly do with the config volume, right? So what we'll be going to do is that we will delete the cm, and we are going to delete these two files. Now we will be creating a new file called as configmap.yaml, and this is the config map that what we are going to create. So name and my environment variable will be hello from config map, right? So that's a simple YAML file, right? So come out from there again, apply the file kubectl apply minus f configmap.yaml, okay, and let's create a pod.yaml. And now this is the thing. So see the same variable, the key in which we have done in the config map, that will be taken as a value here, right? So that's all. So close this one, and then apply the pod kubectl apply minus f pod.yaml, and just execute this thing in the bash. And when we will be doing the cat, yeah, that's all right. So when I will be doing the cat, so this is the same thing which we have written here, right? And that's all right. So what we have done, we have created a config map, we have created a pod, and we have verified the mount, right? So that's all from the two things. I will be pasting all the YAML files in the GitHub file, so you can take a look on that. Okay, thanks all. I hope to see you in my next video, and thanks all. Bye bye. Take care, everyone.